Hey, writers, welcome back. This is going to be session, what is it, 6 in fantasy writing together? So much fun. So recently we've been rehearsing. We've been rehearsing different ways to think about our characters inside and outside. We've been rehearsing the structure of our story. And today I want to shift us, do a little bit of rehearsing, but also shift us into drafting so that we're moving from one place to the next. And one of the things that I want to do is I want to again remind you of what all narrative writers do, all fiction writers, all personal narrative writers do, is that they draft. And so the thing I want to remind you of today is this: the narrative writer's draft. And one of the things that you can do is you can get a piece of paper or make a piece of paper online for each point in your story arc or your timeline. And then that could be each scene. Right. So as I was looking back at mine, I realized I didn't put it into scenes very much. And so I had to kind of reconfigure it a little bit to do that. But then once you do that, you can just write Fast and Furious because you know how it goes. So I want to show you what I did is I took some paper and I decided to come up with a bunch of scenes. And I'll zoom in it here for you real quick to see what it looks like. So my first scene, it's going to be in the classroom. Mark's got his new watch, but it's not Apple Watch. He's embarrassed. Bullies tease him, and he thinks his crush, Mary Sharon, thinks he's uncool. The next scene is going to be out at recess or on the playground. And this is where Mark finds out that the watch stops time, and he realizes that he could start playing some pranks on the bullies to sort of get them back, right? And then the bullies, somehow they're going to find out we're going to be back in the class, maybe on the way from recess back into the classroom. They find out about the watch, and then they start framing him for all the gum, because I'm going to introduce the gum issue. There's gum all over the school, on the floors, on the playground equipment, under the desks. And they frame it on him. And so the setting is going to be back in the classroom. And then maybe it's at like gym class, or maybe it's even at lunch recess, or I did recess. Maybe it's lunch. I don't know. It's another scene. His crush, Mary Sharon, finds out, and together they try to get the watch back so that they can have the truth of the situation, which is going to end up in the principal's office where the bullies get into trouble. They're the ones who did all the gum. And Mark and Mary Sharon, they go to the dance. Okay, so that will be the happy ending. And so that's basically what it looks like. And so I could write Fast and Furious right here, right? And here's another tip. If you are writing on paper, it's even cooler because you can do some other things that sort of help you out. One of the things I like to do is I like to sketch in the margins down the page what I'll probably write. So, right. So maybe first he's at his desk and he's like staring at his not Apple Watch, it's like a calculator on the watch, and he's feeling horrible. It's his birthday. Maybe he's also knowing like the gum. This is my picture of gum is everywhere. And he's like, what's going on? Maybe down here, the bullies start teasing him. And he feels sort of embarrassed and he thinks his crush doesn't like him. So I'm just going to do like kind of like speech bubble here. And then maybe it is time for, the bell rings and they'll go to their next activity. Maybe this next scene will be at lunch, maybe it'll be at recess. But the idea is I know what's going to happen. I can change the setting as I draft, but sometimes if I do a little sketch down the side, it helps me draft. Now, if I'm writing online, it might look a little different. You still want to have your structure. So here's what I might do if I were you, if you're like an online writer. So I might insert a table, right? And in this table, I could just like write a little notes to myself at the top. If I want to make it look like a Post-it, I can do it like this. So like, Mark is in class with his not Apple Watch, embarrassed, and also noticing gum everywhere. Meanwhile, bullies make fun of him, and he feels like Mary Sharon, his crush, thinks he's uncool. All right, great. And then I want to do it for each page, right? So I'd go down, perhaps down to the next page and start my next one, right? I would go here, boom, insert my table. It doesn't matter. It could be a long table like this. That might even be better. The point is that you have like a mini structure before you start drafting. All right. And then you draft Fast and Furious. You know how it's going to go, and it doesn't have to be perfect. The point is like, get it down to the page. So let's get started. Mine could go like this. Mark sat at his desk with his hand over his wrist. he couldn't believe his parents didn't get him the one thing that he asked for his birthday, a brand new Apple Watch. Instead, what they got him was a 30-year-old, maybe be older since it's, I said his age, 35-year-old Casio with a calculator on it. I'm not even sure the calculator works, Mark thought. He ran his arm under his desk to hide the watch. He was too embarrassed to let others see it, especially Mary Sharon. Suddenly, his hand brushed against something sticky. Ew, he yelled. His hand had touched gum someone had just chewed. When he yelled, he brought his hand up. Everyone turned to look at him. You see how this is going. Everybody's going to turn and look at him. The bullies are going to see the watch, make fun of him. He's going to get embarrassed. That'll set the story. But the point is, I wanted to show you my drafting. Notice how I didn't stop. I didn't worry about if it's perfect or not. And that's the key thing for a draft, Fast and Furious. The point of a draft is to write it all down, get the whole thing down as soon as possible, because then you can go back and like fix it up and make it even better. Because as we'll learn, the only way that your writing will get better is if you revise it again and again and again. All right. So I'm stuttering here. What that means is that you will have to get it all down imperfectly. It should be bad. It should be not great writing. But the point is you get it all down in one shot or two shots. Right? Don't worry. Don't fuss about it. Don't get embarrassed yourself like my character, Mark. Just get it down to the page. All right. So as a reminder, today, every day, for the rest of your life, whenever you're writing fantasy, or really, this is true for any kind of writing, you want to, once you know how it goes, once you know the structure, you, excuse me, you want to write it fast and furious down the page. You can use your structure to do that, your timeline to do that. Have fun. Off you go. I'll see you later.